Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to yet another double unboxing.
What?
What?
What did you say?
I said hello and welcome to just...
No, after that.
Welcome to another double unboxing.
Jody, we spoke about this. No more watches. The house is full of them.
But these aren't my watches. They were sent to me for unboxing by a subscriber.
Are you lying to me?
No.
And you promised no more watches.
No more watches, I promise.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll leave you to it.
Bye. I had my fingers crossed. It doesn't count if you've got your fingers crossed. Yes, for once I wasn't actually lying to my wife about buying new watches. These two were indeed sent to me very generously by a subscriber, Adam, for review. Now Adam's based over in Melbourne. We've been chatting for a while. He's a Formula 1 nut. He actually sent me this t-shirt a while ago. We've done a bit of trading as well. And he told me he was getting two new pieces for his personal collection. One Casio, one Seiko. Would I be interested in peeling off the stickers for our mutual benefit? How could I resist? Especially considering it was a square G-Shock and my first encounter with Seiko Kinetic. I'm not sure why, but the Kinetic thing hasn't really struck a chord with me up till this point anyway. Perhaps Adam's watch will change my mind. Let's flip the camera and get on with it before my wife comes back. So big thank you to Adam for allowing me to play with his watches today. You can follow him on Instagram if you like, blue_moose_racing. I'll leave a link to that in the description of the video. Great collection, real mixture of new and old, luxury and affordable. Bit of an eye for vintage Omega by the looks of it has Adam, and I don't blame him for that. I can also spot a Pelagos and a Vanuatu as well as a gorgeous Seamaster in there too. So I did ask him why he picked these two watches, and there's a kind of interesting story behind each of them. I think I'm going to start with the Seiko today and leave that square G-Shock for a few minutes time. So Adam told me that he has his name on the waiting list for a Tudor Black Bay GMT, but here in Australia the waiting lists are lengthy to say the least. You're looking at 6 months, 12 months, perhaps even longer. Now where he works, I don't know where he works, but I want to work there too. Apparently there's some kind of reward scheme. You accrue points and you can then swap them for, amongst other things, watches. It sounds like a kind of frequent flyer scheme. Two Seikos were on the list, one Presage, but if you noticed he already picked up a white dial Presage just before Christmas, or this Seiko Kinetic. So he thought he'd pick up the Kinetic and kind of test drive a GMT prior to the Tudor eventually arriving. So caliber 5M85 GMT, look at the thickness of that instruction manual. And I broke the habit of a lifetime. I actually looked at the instruction manuals online because this one probably best to understand the intricacies of the watch and the movement. Let's pop the lid and have a look at it. So this is a Seiko SUN033J1, meaning it's made in Japan. And indeed there is the hang tag confirming the model number, water resistant to 100 meters, the ubiquitous Seiko proprietary Hardlex crystal, and that caliber 5M85, which they will repeatedly assure you never requires a battery. That's really the USP of these Kinetics. And there it is, ticking away, Seiko Kinetic GMT 100 meters. Let's peel off some stickers. All done, peeled and revealed. So what are we calling this one today then? Kind of everyday GMT? It's certainly far too chunky to be a dress watch. 43.5mm diameter, just under 15mm thick, 50mm lug tip to lug tip, 20mm lugs, and unsized. I'm going to leave Adam the dubious privilege of sizing this one up. It's probably Seiko's infamous pin and collar system. This one weighs in at 155 grams, so it's a fair chunk of watch. Hardlex crystal and all stainless steel construction. Obviously, let's zoom in on that dial. It is quite nice. So we've got an applied Seiko logo. Everything else is just printed on. Applied indices and plenty of texture. Those nice vertical stripes in the middle. Recessed 24-hour indicator. Colour matched date wheel with a frame around it there. All appropriate for a watch at this price. Obviously, Adam paid in his Works Magic Bean system. These ones are around $230 on Amazon.com. I will obviously leave a link to that one in the description of the video. But the dial, quite good looking, and if you're into Seikos, having Japan just down there at the 630 means quite a lot. Dauphine hands with that needle second hand, and you've got a kind of hollowed out Dauphine GMT hand with the red tip there as well. But this is kind of where the fun is today, isn't it? On the back of the watch, looking at that movement. We do have one more sticker, I believe, to peel off here. Well, that was harder than it looked. Thanks for that, Seiko. So, 5M85A. Now, in layman's terms, and as discussed, I am very much a layman when it comes to these kinetic movements. It's a quartz movement that is charged by a rotor. So, it's kind of the other half of the mecha quartz. The mecha quartz is a quartz movement with a mechanical module slapped on top of it. This seems to be the kind of opposite. You've got that Kinetic branded rotor spinning away there, and that's a battery just where my thumb is. Very interesting indeed, though I can actually feel and hear this rotor winding, which I didn't necessarily expect. So there is quite an interesting power reserve feature here. If I press that little button up at the 2, when the second hand hits 12, there we are, it flicks on 5 minutes. That suggests that this has about 1 day of power reserve in it. Now there's a cracking graphic in the instruction manual suggesting that if you walk for 720 meters, swinging your arms vigorously, you will have provided the kinetic module with enough charge for 2 days. Now I'm not going to do that, but I will give it a shake and try again in a second or two. So I have given it an appropriate shake. Let's try again, see if we can get the power indicator to move a little further. Indeed, there we are, so that's approximately 2 days. Apparently, this can take about 6 months worth of charge. It'll go all the way down to the 30-second indicator to show you that it's got a full charge. But there you are, never needs a battery. But is that the best of both worlds or the worst of both worlds? I'm going to bring in some old friends, the kittens of rotor noise doom. These guys are normally reserved from Miyota 8000 series, but damn, this is one noisy movement. It sounds and feels like a broken automatic. I'm not sure I'd fancy that much, to be honest. It is a fairly easy movement to set the home time and the GMT time. Single crown and only 2 positions. You pull it out to the first position and that adjusts the home time hour hand. No quick set date on this, so you are going to be going the long way around if you want to advance the date beyond the 11th, 12th, 13th, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do, the second pull adjusts all of the hands at once, including the GMT hand. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it to GMT. So I'm going to adjust the GMT hand to midday. Now midday GMT is 9 p.m. Local time here. So I'll just pull that out and then advance that over to 9 p.m. Pretty straightforward. So there it is, resting gently unsized on top of my 7-inch wrist. Now, in spite of the fairly considerable diameter, dimension and thickness, it's about as thick as your average diver. 50mm lug tip to lug tip, and that recessed mid-link of the end link means that it wears quite well. It does conform to the wrist. Should be nice and comfortable, this one, if it is indeed going to be an everyday watch. But sorry, Adam, I'm just not quite sure that I get it. I think they put these movements into divers as well. Now that makes much more sense to me anyway. If you've got a watch that you never have to change the battery, never have to service the movement in theory either, then you never have to change the seals. And if you've got a kind of tool style dive watch, one of these movements I think makes perfect sense. Also, if you've got a much thicker dive case, you probably wouldn't notice that rotor spinning around, grinding away in the back there. Probably have a closed case back on most divers as well. So maybe it's an interesting movement, but this isn't quite the right watch for it. But hey, it's only a placeholder for Adam really until he gets to the front of that Tudor queue. Now you're talking G-Shock. Now I was a bit shocked. Adam said this was the one and only digital display watch in his collection. I just did a quick head count, 15. But then we all know I have a bit of a problem with Casio. Apparently this is a pretty good one. I'll leave a link again. You can find these on Amazon for just around $200 US. So it's certainly not the base model. This one has got Bluetooth connectivity, and it is one of these models that connects the atomic clock if you live in the right country. Unfortunately, we don't here in Australia, but it will update the time every time he logs onto his phone using the app. Now, Adam says he's got a G-Shock Gravity Master, which is an absolute monster. He also quite liked the new metal ones, but the price is prohibitive. Indeed, the price is about twice the price of one of these. And look at this thing. It has got a very unusual bracelet. Unusual for me anyway. I haven't seen one like this before. Look at that. Metal clasp on a G-Shock. Wonders will never cease. So if you thought Seiko numbering was bad enough, get your chops around a Casio GW-B5600BC-1BDR. Spec sheet there though, Bluetooth wave scepter, that's the one where it connects to the atomic clock if it can. Tough solar, so you never need to replace the battery in this one either. Shock resistant obviously. Bluetooth, 200 meters water resistant. Stopwatch and a super illuminator and a bunch of world time features. So it's got the square case of the G-Shock 5600 that I've got, but it's got a heap of extra features. Let's have a tinker with some of them. Just a couple of stickers before we do on this one. Press clasp though, never mind. That buckle almost makes up for it. Looks pretty nice as well, doesn't it? I do like the negative display. Kind of looks like mine with the negative display, but as you can see, different modules in here. It's like mine but with added brains. Let's have a look at some of the functionality then. Standard Casio layout here, cycling through the modes, world time, apparently 5 different cities are possible here. Let's see if I can cycle through them. Yep, 2, London, 3, Paris, indeed. 5 different cities available there. Next one, alarm. Again, there should be 5 different alarms. Yep, it just does have a heap more functionality than the standard module. Next one should be a stopwatch. Next one should be a countdown timer, and then back to the main screen. But really the interest is in this Bluetooth. I'm going to download the app and have a tinker with this one. Alright, so let's have a quick look at this G-Shock app then. See if I can connect the phone and the watch. What I've done is I've misset the time. I'd imagine that as soon as this connects, it will update with the correct time. I've already given the app my mother's phone number and permission to take my firstborn child. Select the correct watch, which is of course the 5600 down the bottom of the list there. Now it's telling me to hold that button for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. I've got a connected and the Bluetooth flashing. Excellent. So a new watch was found. It's the right watch. Register the watch to the app, and let's see if it updates the time and date at bare minimum on the watch when they connect. I assume that it will. When you're ready, anytime you like. There we go. We have updated with the correct time. It is indeed 8:46 on Friday night. That's how exciting my life is. Now, what can we do here? We can adjust the world times. Let's try that one. World time. All right, Hong Kong. Can we adjust a different city? Let's try Helsinki for the sake of it. Set this city to the watch. Alright, so you can basically control all of the functions of the watch via the app. Easier than pressing those recessed pushers on there. Setting completed. Alright, thank you very much. Similarly, if I scroll over to utility, I will set the alarm. I can set all of the 5 alarms, including snooze, using this app. A timer, very nice, and reminders. If you set a reminder, okay, it flashes, etc., to remind you of a birthday or something like that. And it's quite a cute little touch there. You can see the time and date is mirrored on the watch as on the app. Very nice indeed. So yes, definitely a square G-Shock with brains, this one. I can see that app being a useful part of the ownership experience. But in spite of all that tech, it does look, wear and feel just like a regular square 5600 G-Shock. So 43mm in diameter, just under 13mm thick. Unsized, just resting on my 7-inch wrist there. This one weighs in at 85 grams. I'd imagine maybe 15 of those grams will disappear when he adjusts the bracelet. Very nice. Those resin bands on the basic G's, not my favourite, to be honest. I think this would be a welcome upgrade if it's possible, or it might be worth buying one of these. If not for the functionality, if you just want to beat it around, then that's certainly an interesting option with a clasp on there rather than a buckle and tang. Very interesting. So again, a big thank you to Adam for letting me play around with his watches, have them in the house here for a week or two before they'll go back to Melbourne to get sized up and to add to his collection. As you can probably have guessed, this one floats my boat a little more than the Kinetic. I'm still not quite sure that I get it. Perhaps this isn't the right application for it. And this is my first taste of a kind of premium G-Shock, one of the more interesting feature-packed editions, but I suspect it might not be the last. How many digital display watches is too many after all? Is 16 too many? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.